G'day Earthlings, Dr. Rank here, and welcome to Gaming Legends, the show where slow and steady wins the race as long as you're doing single player. In Spyro the Dragon, you play as a teenager tasked with cleaning up the mess when the grown-ups get cancelled. Dragons are best known for two things, flying and breathing fire. So making a Skylander that was just Spyro with big horns makes absolutely no sense. Can you beat Spyro the Dragon without charging? Our goal is to beat the Spyro Reignited Trilogy version of Spyro 1 from a fresh save file without ever pressing the charge button. Additionally, only stuff you can do within Spyro 1 is allowed, so don't expect to see any speedway storage in this run. And finally, all non-cosmetic cheat codes are banned, though feel free to wear snazzy shades if you so desire. In order to reach the end of the game, we need enough collectibles to satisfy the balloonists in each world. Our long-term goals are to rescue 50 dragons, collect 6,000 gems, and defeat 5 egg thieves. Dragons are the easiest of the three to obtain, simply requiring us to touch them. They also act as checkpoints, so it's a good idea to grab them anyway. Gems, meanwhile, are a bit more complicated. Most of the gems are obtained by breaking treasure chests or defeating enemies. Without charging, the only way we can attack is with Spyro's Fire Breath, which has no effect on iron chests or enemy shields. Luckily, enemies will lower their shields before attacking you, which is the perfect opportunity to roast them. I was actually able to 100% both Dark Hollow and the Artisan hub world. We can also get 100% on all the flight levels, which feature no charging whatsoever and give us 300 gems apiece. The difficulty starts to ramp up in Peacekeepers, particularly with Cliff Town. The enemies have started to ditch their shields in favor of full body armor, making them completely fireproof. That doesn't mean they're totally invincible though. Dr. Shemp's minions will usually run straight off a cliff, and the armored druids in Magic Crafters are fully capable of friendly fire. The same cannot be said for the giant metal spiders in the high caves, but we can still reach this fairy who grants us the Super Flame power-up. This power allows us to destroy iron chests and armored enemies with just our flame breath. It doesn't last long and we can't take it everywhere, but we can just barely take care of all the spiders. There is unfortunately one dragon we can't rescue here. Cedric is inside the peak where the vortex is, and the only way to reach it is by jumping off a supercharge ramp. If we can't charge, we can't supercharge. Luckily, we can still exit the level from the pause menu, keeping all our collectibles. The hardest collectibles to round up are the eggs. The thieves that carry them are notorious for their high speed and general nuisancery. Charging is Spyro's fastest form of movement, making us the tortoise in this situation. They do slow down the longer you chase them, but even at their slowest, the devs assume that you have the ability to charge. But there's no need to work harder when you can work smarter. If you approach the thief from above, they won't start running right away, giving you just enough time to burn them. Not every thief has a vertical arena to take advantage of, but if their path is a small loop, you can often achieve similar results by gliding across the middle. Using these techniques, we can just barely get the 5 eggs we need. Unfortunately, we can't reach the balloonist in Magic Crafters. Near the High Caves portal is a terraforming druid that puts up a wall when you approach him, blocking off access to the rest of the homeworld. The only way to get past is by using the nearby supercharge ramp to ram him before he puts the wall up, but we can't do that. I tried everything to get past this wall, but my efforts were fruitless. However, the Spyro speedrunning Discord eventually informed me that the game only cares that we've been to Magic Crafters and have enough eggs. Head back to Peacekeepers via the guidebook, and the balloonist there will let you proceed straight to Beastmakers. However, since we were forced to skip Wizard Peak, Blowhard, and Crystal Flight, we'll need to work a bit harder to meet the dragon and gem quotas. Misty Bog has a lot of armored Gnorcs around, and they're often found in lines on narrow paths. While it's not impossible to avoid their knife attacks, I lost my dragonfly more times than I care to admit. Luckily, the ones on the main path can pretty much be completely skipped by damage boosting across the water. There is another set on a secret path leading to some gems, but I somehow managed to get past them. Treetops is built almost entirely around supercharge ramps, so we can't do much in this level. We are, however, able to reach 2 of the 3 dragons here. Metalhead is the only fireproof boss in the game, but luckily the power poles can also be destroyed by his own attacks. We now have 51 dragons rescued, which is just barely enough to enter Dreamweavers. We technically don't need dragons anymore, but they do still act as checkpoints, so we'll still be keeping an eye out for them. Dark Passage is a total cakewalk, with the only invincible enemies being the turtles. I do still recommend flaming the fools though, making our problems much smaller. Haunted Towers has plenty of super flame locations, but we can't do much here. The tower interior is blocked by a wall that you're expected to destroy with a supercharge. I tried bringing the super flame over, but the timer is just too strict. There is a side path that leads to an orange fairy who grants permanent super flame, but we can't reach her in the first place without the aforementioned supercharge. As for the rest of Dreamweavers, I got no idea. I already had 6,000 gems, so I skipped straight ahead to the final world, Gnorc Nexus. To get through this world, we need to reach the exit portal in both the levels here. Gems are completely unnecessary, but dragons are still checkpoints. The main path in Gnorc Cove is blocked by a TNT-wielding Gnorc on the other side of a pit. We can't knock the iron barrel into him like usual, and any attempts to flame him were met with a quick reunion with Timmy O'Toole. Luckily, we can glide from the top of the stairs and damage boost across the water straight to the vortex. Twilight Harbor is a cakewalk since none of the enemies here have armor. However, they've been spending their armor budget on better weaponry. The bomber at the start pulled off an awesome trick shot against me, which might just be the funniest death I have ever experienced. The final battle against Gnasty Gnorc is the single hardest level in the entire game. Remember the egg thieves from earlier? Well, now we've got to chase 2 of them, followed by Gnasty himself. The thieves' paths are all narrow, linear tunnels with almost no verticality to speak of. I tried flaming the first thief from the end of his tunnel, but for some reason he refused to react to Spyro's fire. I also tried tricking Gnasty into taking out the thieves himself, but turns out Gnorcs have Stormtrooper eyesight. But the first thief starts off traveling slightly downhill, and I was eventually able to glide into him quickly enough to take it out. Unfortunately, I had no such luck with the second thief, but I accidentally found a way to cheese it. If you follow the thief to the end of the tunnel and then backtrack to the start, he'll be there waiting for you, but then run away as you approach. Instead of going back into the main arena, immediately head back through the tunnel to the end. For some reason, this glitches out the thief, who will get stuck on the wall running in place. For Gnasty Gnorc himself, there doesn't seem to be any way to outrun him, but we can outsmart him. Get to the end of the path, then jump off just far enough to make Gnasty start running, but still close enough that you can get back. If done right, Gnasty will start running straight into your flame. The final phase just has you gliding between platforms, which doesn't require any charging. With Gnasty Gnorc being served extra crispy, the Spyro 1 uncharged run is officially conquered! As usual, you can watch the original run on my archive channel, which I will link in the description. Also, let me know if you want me to try this run in Spyro 2. I'm trying to have at least 2 videos between sequels, so it probably won't happen for a few months, but let me know if you'd like to see it at all. That's all for now, and I will see you down under.